What's up, everybody? This is Kyle Whittington, and I'm going to talk about the thing that literally everybody else is talking about. So you're probably going to hear some points repeated from me that you've heard others say. I'm not. I hope that I'm bringing a little bit of a unique perspective here, and I know I kind of like missed the real peak of the hype around this, but I find that whenever you let things just, ruminate for a little bit and think about it, that usually means you're going to miss the peak of the hype. And I think that's okay. In fact, I think a lot of times a little bit of patience just to let things mull around for a bit. I think that's a really good thing for us Christians to do before mentioning something or before talking about something that is mostly just hype. Now, obviously, if you saw the thumbnail, saw the title, we're going to be talking about Harrison Butker today and his recent commencement speech. I guess what I'm going to go over a little bit is what I liked about it, some criticisms that I have, somebody who did some amazing work on analyzing the situation that really kind of like challenged me a little bit and made me think about something that I hadn't considered. And then, we're just going to kind of get into a little bit of, I guess, some of the seething that's going on in the greater society. So I'm not used to doing this kind of a format where I'm just presenting kind of off the cuff. And I'm going to be consciously not trying to say every time. And I think I even said it just even in that sentence. But here we go. Let's go. All right. So what do I think? Okay. Actually, I should preface this with a little bit of how I think about these things. And I think that anybody online, it's really important that we remember Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 2478. Because who doesn't like a good legal analysis before we get started? But anyway, I think it's really important. And anytime that we talk about people, when people are involved, we need to remember Catechism of the Catholic Church, CCC 2478. And here it is. To avoid rash judgment, everyone should be careful to interpret, insofar as possible, his neighbor's thoughts, words, and deeds in a favorable way. Every good Christian ought to be more ready to give a favorable interpretation to another's statement than to condemn it. But if he cannot do so, let him ask how the other understand it. And if the latter understands it badly, let the former correct him with love. If that does not suffice, let the Christian try all suitable ways to bring the other to a correct interpretation so that he may be saved. Okay, basically, give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Try to see if there's any ambiguity. You should assume that it is a good statement. With all of that being said, obviously, Harrison Butker is an insanely courageous man. He's obviously insanely disciplined and whatnot. And we can safely say, awesome, he stood up for what he believed. Fantastic. Literally, like, as far as like compare it to the character of the man, bravo. And he said so many good things. Especially like men be men. That's so good. And we're lacking a lot of that. And whenever you contrast that with what his teammate Travis Kelce did, where he like pounded a beer on the stage, he was like, yeah, let's party. Yeah, no, there's really no comparison. And then, of course, we've got what the NFL did. And I find this so funny. The chief diversity officer came out and said, "Oh, we condemn this. We're very inclusive here." And I just always find it hilarious whenever people are saying we're going to exclude you because we're inclusive because you disagree with us. I guess we're only inclusive whenever it's in the categories that we deem appropriate. But we can't be having any diversity in things such as thought or religion or whatever. So whatever. So obviously, I think ultimately what Harrison Butker did was good. I think we're seeing a net positive result for it. And honestly, congratulations to him for being the #1 selling NFL jersey right now. But if you guys want to support Harrison Butker and not pay the NFL, I don't know if he owns it, whatever. He's involved with a clothing company called Novus, spelled Novus. kind of funny, right? Novus. So if you just look up like novice clothing, you know, you can get something from there. I actually have a hoodie from them. It's pretty nice. But anyway, all right, cool. Let me just look at my notes here. All right. Oh, yeah. I also just want to call out that the Kansas City Chiefs ownership, like the wife put out a thing expressing her support, which I think is fantastic. That actually really makes me excited because I guess as Catholics, we're used to being thrown under the bus in this country. And it was just really cool seeing like somebody in a position of power or influence, whatever, somebody who kind of like, you know, signs the checkbooks was backing him up. And I thought that was really cool. I was really glad to see that. Now, um, but there were some things things that he said in this that made me kind of go, okay, all right, yeah, that was an interesting choice. And I have it linked in the description, but there was an excellent article written by Emily Stimson Chapman. And the way that I first came across this article was somebody in a Discord server that I'm in said, I don't know how anybody could come to such uncharitable assumptions about Harrison Butker. And she listed a bunch of criticisms. And I think that's actually a really good way to frame it, is that I don't understand how somebody could come to these conclusions. And Emily did a fantastic job listing how somebody could come to those conclusions. And, you know, it was, like I said, I've got it linked in the description. It's on her Substack. It's one of the public articles. So if you want to support her work, you know, feel free to sign up. And like, I'm not gonna plug my own stuff right now. I would actually like more encourage you to go check hers out. But anyway, so what were some of the things that he said that made me a little uncomfortable? Well, okay, let's just get into this. Was you know, his the way he talked about the Latin Mass. I love the Latin Mass. No complaints about it. I do find it very enriching. In general, usually you will find that the Latin Mass in any given area is going to be more reverent than, you know, say just your normal parish mass. Now, obviously, your mileage may vary. I live in Steubenville. There's actually no irreverent masses here. Like, you couldn't find one if you wanted to, which is fantastic. And like here lately, we've been going to the Melkite mission here, so we've been kind of learning more about the East, which is really cool. But anyway, the way he said it, you know, Emily does a really good job of pointing out how obviously we need to assume that this isn't what he meant. None of us know him. You know, I've never personally talked to him or met him or anything. But she points out that because there are so many people online that are questioning the validity of the Novus Ordo, that are saying that it's detrimental to the faith, and quite like people with some pretty big followings on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, are saying these things, it's really easy for somebody to mistake you to trying to say the same thing as these people. So that's how you can see how somebody would come to this uncharitable conclusion. I'm not saying that that's right, but this is how it happens. Let's see here. Hold on. Before I keep going on. Oh, yeah, I actually haven't listened to the speech, at least most of it. Yeah, I would actually encourage you all to go listen to it for yourself. Before you're going to like cheer for it or condemn it, listen to it. Because, I mean, how can you possibly say that, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, if you haven't actually read it? There was I don't know if this is true or not. But there was some Italian guy that once wanted to say that the literature of this author, the poetry of this poet, was superior to whoever, and then upon his deathbed or whatever, and I think he like killed people in duels over it, and then like at the end of his life, whatever, he admitted that he had actually not read the poetry of either one or whoever. I don't know. So, but yeah. So to comment on what you're saying, from what little I've heard, it seemed like a good speech. I would actually agree. There was a lot of bravery, a lot of courage, a lot of boldness that we find lacking in today's church, and it was actually quite refreshing to see that, at least from a man's perspective. Emily kind of speaks from like the terminally online woman's perspective, and or I shouldn't say that. She says that she's very online, just due to the nature of her job. So, which I understand, and whatever. But yeah, there are some problematic, if you can forgive me using that term, aspects to like the tratosphere, manosphere uh, group here that, I mean, we address them, but I don't think that, because I guess as conservative and traditional Catholics, we see so much common ground with these people that we want to just consider them allies or whatever. I'm talking people like the Andrew Tates and the, well, I don't want to say the Pearl Davises. That most conservative Catholics that I know can't stand her. But they want to say like, oh yeah, I see the boldness in these guys, and they're saying a lot of really good things. Yeah, they're saying some really like weird stuff, but whatever. So anyway, that doesn't excuse what's wrong. And I think when we're speaking to the truth, it's really easy to come across as being in the camp of these people who do some pretty horrible things, or that openly advocate for some pretty horrible things. Now, what's your culpability, your responsibility on that? Who's to say? But there's definitely an element of prudence that needs to go in there. And whenever you have such a large platform like what Harrison Butker got on his commencement speech, just because it went viral, which they say it went viral. I looked at the original one. The thing hasn't even gotten 1 million views. So that tells me that, most of the people that are talking about this haven't actually watched it. So, yeah. Anyway, so all right, so that's the traditional Latin Mass thing. Now, there was a comment that he made in it that was talking about how there's nothing natural about limiting the number of children. It seemed like a very thinly veiled shot at natural family planning. Now, we talked about this in a Discord server that I'm on, and basically, excuse me, yes, there is a wrong way to do natural family planning. If you are using it like Catholic contraception, then yeah, that's bad. That openness to life still needs to be there. And I am not a theology of the body expert. I explicitly stay away from that topic. So if you ask any questions about that in the comment, even if you super chat it, I'm going to ignore it, because go to Christopher West or Gregory Popchak or whoever. Go listen to those guys who actually know what they're talking about, not some clown with a high school diploma. But anyway, yes, there's a right and wrong way to do it, but abusus non tollit usus. I don't know, my Latin's terrible, but abuse does not nullify use. So he took a shot at that, which, not a big fan of that. Oh, and by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier. But I guess it's not too late to mention it now. Harrison Butker is a bold, courageous, and by all appearances, virtuous man who's exceptionally good at kicking a football. Obviously very disciplined. He's got a clothing company. He's a savvy businessman, but he's a layman. He is not famous for his theology. So it's I guess for me, I'm sitting over here like, I don't expect him to be solid on every single aspect of his theology. He's not co-authoring books with Scott Hahn. So to me, it's just like, yeah, he's talking like people that I know. That makes him a little relatable to me. So yeah, I get it. So once again, if I ever meet him, I'm going to shake his hand and I'm going to thank him for his bravery. All right. But anyway, back to the, so he took a shot at NFP. I think there's some problems of like publicly condemning things that the church has approved, because if this is something that the church is wrong on, well, okay, then what else is the church wrong on? And then you very quickly come into that problem of, why am I even Catholic? So yeah, it's imprudent at best. It is schismatic at worst. So, but I'll just say that he was speaking from the understanding that he has, and not condemn him further. If we were having a beer or something like that, I'd love to talk to him about it. I sincerely doubt I'll ever get that opportunity, but whatever. So let's see here. I see Braden's not bitter. Let's see here. All right. What else do we have here? Okay. Yeah. So there was one comment that he said about Congress passing a law that made it illegal to point out the biblical teaching on who killed Jesus. Now, there's so much to unpack here. So I'm going to try to do this as fair as possible. And hopefully at the end of this, every single one of us will be angry. Okay. So I hear a lot of talk about, it was, God's chosen people that killed Jesus. And in a sense, that is true. Because, if you read the gospel, it's who's calling for the death of Jesus. Okay. That is true. The God's chosen people at that time, were 100% calling for it. The Romans actually carried it out. So they physically did it. But there's a deeper truth underneath all of this. And I believe it was St. Alphonsus Liguori that I love what he said in this conversation of, who was it that killed Jesus? It's like, well, you know who did it? Me. I did it. It was my sin that put him on the cross. It was your sin that put him on the cross. It was the sins of God's chosen people that put him on the cross. So, yes, in a sense, that is true. It's also true to point out that the Romans killed him. But what's even more true, and the deeper truth, is that we killed him. So, yeah, we can say that there's some free speech problems, and sure, we can have that conversation elsewhere. I'm not a political analyst, and even if I was, I wouldn't be a very good one. So I'm not going to get into all of that. So yeah, but Emily points out in her article about how that's okay. So I actually hate the term dog whistle. Full disclosure, usually when people say dog whistle, I take them a little less seriously because it's just such an overused word that enemies of the church often use. Now, that's a fault of mine. I'm 100% willing to say that's a weakness. That's something I need to grow out of. But sure, this is a dog whistle for anti-Semitism. Does that make Harrison Butker an anti-Semite? Well, no, not necessarily. It could be, but he could also just be trying to preach the gospel. And then there's the whole problem of just labeling somebody in order to dismiss them, because somebody could easily just say, oh, Kyle's quoting a female author, he's simping for women, and oh, he's listening to this woman, that means he's a feminist. Okay, all right. If that's how you want to write me off, that's fine. But I can tell you this. That woman is so brilliant that Scott Hahn has chosen to co-author a book with her. So if you're going to condemn my judgment, well, then you need to condemn his judgment. And quite frankly, if you're the kind of guy that thinks Dr. Scott Hahn is not solid, there's probably not much for you on this channel. So anyway, if you can hear the whistle, you're the dog. Ooh. Okay. Interesting. There's a lot behind that I'd have to really think on. So yeah. Now I guess a lot of this too is that internet interactions are awful. In general, I mean, if you guys are watching this, you are very deep into Catholic YouTube. Nobody knows about me. I mean, whenever we were at Seek, I had a few people that would see my name and go, oh, that's Kyle Whittington, because they heard my name a lot on Pints with Aquinas. That means that, like, you listen to a lot of stuff if you know who I am. So sorry to like insult you all, but if you're watching this, you're also very familiar with the fact that we get really nasty with each other online. I'll actually go ahead and criticize myself first and foremost on that low hanging fruit series that I would have. That was nasty. At the end of that, I never felt good. I was always angry. I was always bitter. I certainly had some modicum of hatred for the person who put out that video that I was responding to. It wasn't good. It's not human to just basically go around somebody's back and like criticize what they're saying, which I suppose is exactly what we're doing here with Harrison Butker. But I don't know, like Harrison, if you're ever watching this, and you won't, I hope that we could be friends. If even after watching this, I want to say that like I still think that you're a really solid dude. I just don't think that you're a theologian, and I don't like. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't agree. He wouldn't take that term either. So we shouldn't expect him to be right on every single thing. Now, well, I am in fact watching this. Yes, Haley, but you're everywhere online. You're very deep into Catholic YouTube. You're more deep into Catholic YouTube than I am, and we love you for it. So we're all schizos together. By the way, if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to post them. Yeah, it's just that lack of just human interaction. We get nasty with each other. I've actually met Veritas here in person. I've met Veritas in person, and he is 100% that guy. If you've seen the Chad Yes meme, that is what Veritas looks like, except instead of the blonde beard, it's black. That is not a man that you would talk to online to his face while you were within strangling distance, because he could easily take you. And it's such a problem that I think we all have online, because we're always being nasty to each other because there's just really no consequences to it. So that's why like I encourage people to, if you're getting angry online, shut off your computer, go touch some grass, all right? Because this isn't real life. Like this is YouTube. Guys, I'm sitting alone here in an office talking to my iPhone. I'm talking to an inanimate object. This is weird. And it's unnatural that we're doing this. And I can say all the nasty things I want to this, little black brick here, because it's not going to turn around and punch me in the face. It's not going to be awful to me. So when we're discussing these things, I think it's just really important to get together, but also remember that when we are interacting online, because let's face it, it's kind of unavoidable, we do need to remember the person. Going back to the Catechism 2478, which, if you don't know, that's actually quoting something from St. Ignatius of Loyola. It's called the Ignatian presupposition. And just try to interpret everything in the best light possible. Give them the benefit of the doubt, because none of us are perfect. Not all of us are professional writers. And just interact with somebody, okay? Have that human interaction, which is why I am planning the 2024 Catholic Creators Conference. We are currently sold out of tickets, which is an awesome problem to have. I'm actually looking to see if we can book it into a larger venue and see if we can have even more people, because ever since Matt Frad shared the ad for it, it kind of blew up, which is fantastic. I love it. So we're going to see if we can get some more. We're going to see if we can get some more spaces, so that way more people can sign up. So that way, especially in the creator sphere, we can get together and we can like be face to face, form some authentic friendships. So that way we're not at each other's throats constantly saying, "Oh, you're horrible, and you're a heretic, and you're just trying to destroy the faith," and whatnot. Because it's just, man, don't ever attribute to malice what can adequately be explained by stupidity. I promise you guys, if I do something that offends you, it's not because I was trying to. I'm just stupid. All right? And that's honestly most people that you interact with online. They don't mean anything by it. They're just doing the best they can. That's what most of us are doing. So yeah, get the Catholic commenters. commenters conference. That's funny. But anyway, so the creators conference is actually limited to creators only. I do have a requirement that you basically needed to have already been making content before you had the opportunity to hear about it. So, and I can kind of tell when somebody heard about it because it's been coming in waves depending on when I release it. So basically, yeah, that's not something that you can like put out a video today and say, look, I'm a creator. Can I come? It's like, no, sorry, bro, you can't. But anyway, you can learn more about that at CatholicCreatorConference.com. Probably should have linked that in the description, but I was more excited about Emily's article on her Substack. So yeah, but anyway, I've got some time left. This half-cocked presentation, I don't think went too terribly bad. If you guys have questions, we can kind of turn this into an AMA or whatever. But this is funny. So Kevin is both stupid and malicious. Yes, I've interacted with Kevin quite a bit. I can attest to both of those things now. No, Kevin, we love you, even though you're an apostate and you should come home. But sorry, I know that you're not terribly comfortable with that. That was a joke. Please don't be offended. So yeah, so what do you got? Oh, okay, I guess I got 17 viewers right now. I did want to let you know. So this weird thing happened on Pints with Aquinas today that through some bug, the mattfrad.locals.com was completely scrubbed from the entire site. A couple of creators, when they put it up on the descriptions of their videos, they'd get an email that says, oh no, that's a scam site. We're not going to allow that link to exist. So on the official Pints with Aquinas Twitter account, there was a post explaining the situation. If any of you guys are on the Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, if you want to like comment on that, share it, help it gain some traction, so that way it actually maybe catches the attention of YouTube. It's a pretty shady thing for YouTube to do. It's so weird. It's so specific that like, is this a bug or is this targeted? So anyway, dealing with YouTube is very difficult because back to the no human interaction, you don't get humans, you get automated responses. And it's very discouraging because yes, while, in the Catholic space, Pints with Aquinas is very big. As far as YouTube is concerned, it's a microscopic channel. 500,000 viewers or subscribers is nothing in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah. But PWA locals is no more. It is still a thing, but YouTube is not allowing the specific URL to go to it in the descriptions of their videos. So it is still a thing. Obviously, YouTube has no authority to delete the locals. But it is, yeah, it's whatever. Oh, Jacob Carter, thank you for your super chat. Are you going to watch the Pope's 60 Minutes interview? I did not know that was a thing. So until you alerted me right now. But to be honest, probably not. I quote this all the time. And I think that there's quite a bit of wisdom in it, although I get a lot of criticism for it. But one can cultivate a medieval sense of piety by having no idea what His Holiness in Rome is doing. If the Pope says something that is pertinent to me, my bishop, my priest will let me know. So I try not to follow every footstep of Pope Francis. I've done that before. It doesn't, that doesn't lead to good places. I'm also tired of constantly defending his actions. So I just try not to pay attention to it. I defend it whenever it's necessary, whenever it's relevant to me in my life. But I also know that I am not the universal sword and shield, the defender of the faith that everybody needs to look to me for answers, because quite frankly, that's just not the truth. First and foremost, I need to take care of my family, and my kids aren't aware of what the Pope is doing, so they're not asking questions about it yet. I'm sure that'll happen one day, and then I'll address it at that time. But as far as everything else, okay, yep. Pray for the Pope. He is our Pope. The authority that he wields is real. It is binding, and whenever he exercises that authority, that is something when all good and faithful Catholics need to pay attention. So, yeah. But yeah. So let's see here. Oh, cool. His Holiness isn't the scandalizer, the media is. Sure. Yeah, I 100% like get behind that. Though I would say that the two aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Father John Brown on I had him on my channel back whenever the Cardinal Burke dubia response, whatever, came about, and he gave a pretty good rundown about how Jesuits speak and how everything that you hear from Pope Francis is very consistent with how a Jesuit superior speaks. And a lot of it is very like soft and ambiguous because a Jesuit superior's authority is so powerful and so binding that like they often don't do that just because they're trying to be loving to the people under them. Pope Francis is obviously like Jesuit formation, and he also pointed out that whenever upon being elected to the papacy, a lot of the liberal Jesuits were freaking out because like, oh no, arch conservative Bergoglio was elected to the chair of Peter. This is a disaster. So yeah, so he's not the villain that everybody makes him out to be. But I just think that it's the two aren't mutually exclusive. Maybe his style doesn't mesh well with the modern media, which fair enough. That doesn't mean that he's bad. That doesn't mean he's terrible. But it does seem like every time that he makes a public statement or something like that, the sky falls down and it's the end of the world and the church has fallen and Rome has fallen into apostasy, which is silly. But yeah, I would say that the media is certainly more to blame than the Holy Father himself. So, are you going on the African safari? I am not. I do not want to get another smallpox vaccine. I got one whenever I went to Afghanistan. I've actually still got the scar on my arm. Let's see here. Yeah, you can kind of see it right there. Yeah, right there. And I don't want to do that again because that vaccine is only good for like a few years, and I don't want to do it again. So yeah. Let's see here. Anything else? Also, like Jacob Carter, once again, thanks for the super chat. That like you don't know this, but YouTube has like a certain threshold that they'll do to like pay out, and I've been like $5 short for the longest time, and it's just like, dang, this would be really nice to get a payout. I could take my wife on a date or whatever, and you specifically helped me get over that hump. So I really appreciate it. And I guess my wife would also like to thank you for that as well. So, oh, look, one of my mods have showed up to do exactly what I do on his streams. Hi, Thursday. So this is honestly yeah, that's fair. Yeah, okay, fair take. All right. Does anybody else have anything? Any comments, concerns? Whatever. Oh, also Thursday, like you're welcome, by the way. I told everybody here to like go put some engagement on your tweet that you posted about the locals thing. So yeah, if he's still even in the stream. So hey, thanks again. Well, enjoy the date night or whatever. Yeah. Oh, hey, Nick's Highlander, you gifted 1 membership. Thanks, man. That is the first membership of this channel. I don't know who got it. So, anyway, welcome. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, what else is going on? So we talked about Harrison Butker. We talked about what's going on with Pints with Aquinas and YouTube targeting their livelihood. Oh, do you guys want to talk about the Pearl and Trent debate? I'll probably like update everything. I'll update everything on like the title and thumbnail afterwards, so that way. Oh my gosh, you guys are great. Kyle, date night fun. I need. You know what, you guys. if one of you has my wife's number, you should text her right now and just say, hey, there's a bunch of people that are that are uh, subscribing and whatnot, or super chatting and joining as members of the channel to help us with a date night. So I think I'm kind of committed to this now, so I have to take her on the date. Okay. All right, cool. I'll go ahead and talk about the Trent and Pearl debate. Now, I guess I've got a little bit of a unique vantage point from this because I was one of the 5 people that was in the room while the debate was taking place. So I actually got to meet Pearl, and I gotta say, one, she was a lot taller than I was expecting. She was wearing heels, but still, she was like just as tall as I was, which was fun. Um, during one of the parts of the debate, she mentioned how she's like, I'm actually a really agreeable person. I will go ahead and like back that up. I will say that, yeah, off camera, she was actually really pleasant, really sweet. I could easily see that if she lived around here, she could probably be in my friend group and, maybe not like hanging out at our house, but like if she was married, like if she was the wife of one of my friends, I certainly wouldn't dislike being around uh, that couple. But yeah. So Thursday's backing this up. Like, yeah, she was pretty chill. Not gonna lie, pretty fun. Yeah, I agree. Like after the debate, we had quite a bit of fun. I say we. I'm the only one who didn't do the pull up bar hang, whatever. So in that regard, I came in dead last. So if you guys wanted to know who the ranking was, Thursday won. He had the longest, just hanging from the pull up bar, and I was dead last because I didn't even attempt. So, but so that was fun. We kind of laughed, and afterwards, there was something that was brought up, and some YouTuber was named, Catholic YouTuber was named, and we all kind of had the same reaction of, oh boy. And she was just who is that? I have no idea who that is. And basically it was said that it's like, well, this person is kind of prominent in like the Catholic infighting sphere. And God bless her heart, Pearl went well, what do Catholics have to even fight over? Like that seems kind of silly. And so afterwards I got to explain like, okay, well, we kind of fight over liturgical expression. There's some things in the church that aren't quite clear. The church hasn't taught on. So there's some arguments over there, and then there's just the general church politics that we can fight over. So, yeah, but yeah, actually, so yeah, Thursday won. It was a landslide. I agree. It was yeah, no, like on the thing, whatever. Now, who won the debate? Trent did. It was almost by default. Pearl had really no arguments. She would cite things, but then she had a lot of ad hominem attacks, such as, "Oh, you're out of touch," and "You don't know." And she mentioned this after the debate that she had never done anything in that format before. So like a lot of the things, like interrupting Trent during his opening statement, that it's just something that she had never done before. So, but yeah, because of that, like she definitely came off as being the least prepared. And yeah, but then like even the reaction of that, like I feel like the criticisms of Trent that I've seen of like, yes, he won, but he could have done so much better if he had taken this point or whatever. I do think that Pearl speaks to some real issues, specifically like how men are treated in the in the court systems, whatever, in the cases of divorce. If there's actually a pretty horrible story of a local man here whose daughter was killed because the court wouldn't give him custody of the child, instead of giving the child to her mother. So it's awful. And yeah, so like that's a real problem that needs to be addressed. However, her solution is just, don't get married, blah, blah, blah. Follow Andrew Tate instead, get your Bugatti, whatever nonsense. Like that's just the wrong. That's a reactive overcorrection to a very real problem. So it's kind of like when you're cold, you don't set yourself on fire to warm up. That's kind of, yeah. Um, so, um, yeah, this, but unironically. Um, so yeah, um, yeah, the whole "you're out of touch" thing was, yeah, that was just like, okay, yeah, sure, he's out of touch. Congratulations, you proved that Trent Horn is out of touch. That doesn't make him wrong, he just doesn't know what a Tinder is. Anyway, um, yeah, I yeah, I thought she wanted to get married. I have no idea. That's kind of one of those you'd have to ask her. I think she does kind of want to get married. She seemed to kind of indicate that, but yeah, I have no idea what's going on there. But yeah. So anyway, anybody have any other questions before I sign up? And Nick's Highlander, thanks for being a member of the channel. Did you get your own gifted membership, which is really funny? Um, let's see here. Did I miss any questions up here? It's really hard to do this solo because you don't want dead air, but at the same time you want to keep engaged, and it's really hard to read and talk at the same time. So, yeah. Nope. Marriage is still good regardless of the unfair laws. Yeah, exactly. And actually, I think this also spoke to a very uh, um, not knowing what a Tinder is a dub on Trent's end. Oh yeah, so afterwards, we were talking about the debate, and Matt was, I could. He was asking me, he's like, okay, how do you think that it did? It's like, well, Pearl said that Trent was out of touch, and then like you came off as absolutely out of touch afterwards, because whenever somebody asked something about an OF model, Matt read it and he was just like, an OF model. I have no idea what that is, and whatever, which was just hilarious. And then later on, Matt was just like, yeah, but I think I'm cooler for not knowing. And I was like, yeah, honestly, that is pretty cool. But anyway, and once again, Jacob, thank you again for the super chat. Like, that's incredibly generous. Thank you. Um, the She responded to the question about religious clergy rather well. I don't remember that one, so I can't really comment on that. But one thing that I thought was just kind of a fundamental problem with the debate is that she's like, I'm not arguing the religious aspect of it, which kind of doesn't. It, that's a problem, because the sacrament of marriage is a religious topic. And as much as you want to try to separate the two, there's no such thing as the religious world and the secular, i.e., the real world, whatever. No, 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 no. It's all one and the same. It's a reality that's baked into the fabric of creation, and you can't just ignore this. So, whenever they were talking about how would you marry an adult film star? Me personally, well, no, and primarily for lack of opportunity, and two, because I don't think that I could get over that. But should that bar somebody? Like, should that be a permanent interdict for the sacrament of marriage? Well, no. There was a recent. I was at a men's night here in Steubenville recently, and one of the guys brought up. Actually, Ryan Budd brought up. He was just on the channel earlier this week. Fantastic guy, loved him to death. He brought up this point about how we don't believe in God's mercy anymore. We just believe in fewer sins. So that's what this whole like cancel culture is. Like, we've got a few cultural sins that we still 100% acknowledge that those are sins, but we just don't believe in God's mercy. We don't believe that somebody can come back from that. So to say that, an adult film star, and I'm just saying that just to avoid getting demonetized, although I've already made so much from super chats that I suppose I shouldn't have to worry about that. But once again, thank you all for that. It's, like I said, incredibly generous. Um, the Yeah, it's that person can still come back. That person could be made new through baptism or just even the sacrament of reconciliation. And yeah, I understand that that past will make you uncomfortable, and maybe that is a deal breaker for you. And honestly, whenever it comes to that, like there's very few wrong answers on what you personally hold as a deal breaker. Um, so, but I don't think that that should be an across the board permanent interdict. You can never be married. Um, Fun fact: murdering your spouse or having somebody kill your spouse, that is a permanent interdict to marriage. And if you do that, you can never be validly married again. Which I suppose like that is a really nice loophole to the till death do we part. Well, I guess I'll fulfill that condition so I can get remarried. So yeah, can't do that. So anyway, James, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel. Although I will say, if you actually want to support the channel, kylewhittington.locals.com. YouTube takes like a 30% cut. Also, they're very filthy and dirty in that they are, they're happy to delete links out of descriptions. So if you want less money to go to YouTube, more money to go to me, do that. But also, you get cool little logos on the channel. So yeah, Veritas. Wow, this got dark. It's just like, yeah, I don't know if I should probably stop because every time I talk about fun fact, if you kill your wife, that's yeah, that's probably a bad way to bring that topic up. Who I got to meet earlier this month. Who's like, I like not paying YouTube. Yes. So but I did see the link. Okay, let's see. I did see the link in one of the PWA videos, but not elsewhere. Yeah, so not to get too terribly techie on this, but it's a very specific combination of the URL that's getting blocked. If anything gets appended to the end of it, like a /support or like a specific video link, that's still okay, apparently. Pretty sloppy programming if a human did this, or it's a really weird bug if a human didn't do this. Yeah, it's a really weird situation. I'm still not quite sure what happened. What's going on? So, oh, I know. Already member on locals. I think I'll check. Just wanted the badge. Oh well, thanks for the support, man. Oh man, is locals like YouTube but better? Locals is a lot like Patreon, except you can actually just Locals is actually more of a community and how you can interact with everybody else. Patreon is, and this is going to sound really bad, like everybody is looking at the creator. So the creator posts something and then you can like interact in the comments or whatever. It's kind of a weird dynamic. So, but locals, let's say, Jacob, if you were in my locals, you could make your own post and other people can do on it. It was like no interaction from me. So yeah. He said, "Put me in, coach." What is this? What is he talking about? Um, so, um, yeah. So, hey, this has been a great stream. Anybody have anything, you know, I don't know. Like it's kind of weird. Like anybody wanna take on some current event or whatever from me. So, um, which is oh man, isn't that weird? Um, Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, back to the grifting thing. So if you do also want to support the channel, I do have an official store. So you can see I got my shirt on. This on like the catholics the link's in the description because I forgot what the other thing. But they so if you want to, pay, if you want to give money and also like get something in return, that's that. That being said, I do have a promotion going on my locals right now. I've got these handmade mugs made by a local potter here. Actually completely handmade, so that's why it's not as like clean as my other ones, because this was authentically handmade by a guy that I consider a friend. In fact, like I went and watched the eclipse with him and his family, which was an amazing time. Um, and Anyway, if you would like that mug, if you just sign up to support at any level, I will. I've got a link in the. I've got a link in the locals that you can sign up, put your address in, and I will ship you one of these mugs. These mugs do cost me about $30 each, and have and then I got to pay shipping and whatnot. So I'd ask that, like, if you do sign up for a monthly, hey, stick around for a little bit. Though I don't have any way of enforcing that. So if you want to join, um, and if it is causing you a hardship, don't worry about it. I'm still happy to send you the mug and you may keep it. So yeah, bro is doing the Midwestern goodbye. Also, how much is that shirt? I pay Zoink it. I don't know what Zoink means. Sorry. Midwestern goodbye. Yeah, I just moved from St. Louis, so it is really bad. I'm actually having to learn the Irish goodbye because I spend most of my days at Chesterton's now, and it's really easy for me to stay really long because it's such a good conversation, and then somebody will say something like, "Oh, I should add to that." But the Irish goodbye is just where you get up and leave and don't say anything. And there's a couple people who have mastered that, and I should really learn that more. Did you hear about the upcoming Trent Pine Sap debate? No, I didn't. That sounds interesting. Actually, I would really enjoy seeing that. Um, so that's that's bold though. That is very, very bold, for somebody as young as Pine Sap to want to debate Trent. But yeah, okay, all right, well, cool. Um, yes, moved from St. Louis to Steubenville. Yes, we moved in November. Uh, isn't Ohio more Midwest? Most of the state, yes, but where we live is considered Appalachia. So we're in the Ohio River Valley, and it's very hilly and whatnot. So you're getting more the hillbillies, the West Virginia types. I mean, we were literally right on the Ohio River, so it's West Virginia, literally like 400 yards from where I'm sitting right now, or maybe not 400 yards, but maybe about a quarter of a mile away is West Virginia. So, um, but St. Louis, the sleepy little town that likes to kill people. Yes, the same city in which I got held up at gunpoint in a church parking lot. True story. Um, Live stream a conversation at Chesterton's. That could either be a very good idea or it could get this channel removed immediately. So, let's see here. Do country roads take you to Ohio? They don't. Unfortunately, those only lead to West Virginia. So it's 400 yards is the same as a quarter mile. Huh. Today I learned. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree with this. That is a bad idea. Although it's really funny. So I highly recommend, if you guys come to Steubenville, come check out Chesterton's. It's such a great place to hang out. If you're not a member, you just need to, as long as there's not like some event that's happening. If there's some event, like, you can't get back in the lounge unless like you're a member or whatnot. But just buy some tobacco. You can go hang out in the lounge, and you have some of the coolest and some of the most unhinged conversations that you'll ever have in your life. It's a really good time. And if you go during the day, you will get some really unhinged conversations that occasionally dip into like the really profound and the deep that like really challenge you and call you to virtue, followed by a fart joke. So it's really it's such an interesting dynamic. You come in the evening, that's actually whenever people are ironically more well behaved, and it's just a good time. So um I have a St. Louis story that y'all get next week. Oh, so wonderful. This wonderful legate is coming to the New Polity conference. So if y'all are in town, come on in. Yeah. Oh yeah. So actually, so whenever Weevil came to First Friday, we were hanging out and we went to the pottery shop and drank beer, which was oh Thursday. You're throwing my mojo off. I'm not putting that up on the screen. Um, but yeah, no, it was really cool. We went to the pottery shop and drank beer, which was really cool. And then afterwards, we went to Chesterton's, and we've got this guy in town. I hope to have him on the channel soon. He's this wandering storyteller. He's like a real life Gandalf. His name's Craig Kinsey. He's a musician. He's got a band, and you can actually find his music on Spotify. Thursday, help me out. What's the name of his band? But anyway, he had his guitar out and he was uh too cowardly to put it on the screen. Okay, all right. Um well, if you super chat it, I'll have to. But anyway, they no, sorry, please don't. I don't want to like grift you guys like that. That's bad. Please don't. Um anyway, Craig was there with his guitar and we were singing like old American gospel songs, which was really cool. Yeah, Jacob, thank you. Thank you. But please don't, not for that one. Uh that's bad. But that was bad on me for asking for that. So I apologize. Anyway, Craig was playing old American gospel songs, so like "Will the Circle Be Unbroken" and "I Saw the Light." And what was really funny, and it was oh 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 no oh no I didn't call you a blonde Chad. I said you were like the Chad Yes meme, but with a black beard. Anyway, um, the then I finished my story. Dang it, and collect a thought. While he was singing the, uh, will the circle be unbroken? He was just like, all right, everybody, stomp. And I kind of stomped my head a little bit, and he's like, y'all can't stop for. And I was like, no, stop. And we kind of did it a little bit. And then he'd play, and he was just like, Holy Spirit, please come and help these white people stomp. And, and then after that, it really, like, the energy in the room really came up, and it was just such a good time. We were all singing. And this was like 1 a.m. at this point. It was just such a good time. So if y'all ever come to Steubenville, come into my Discord, hit me up, send me an email, whatever. Hit me up on the first Friday Fest. They happen the first Friday from May to October every month. Hit me up. I'll show you around. I'll introduce you to people. You can get like the VIP experience, and we can do this. The only ask that I have is please don't be weird. Okay. These are normal people that live here that live normal lives. Yes, you might have seen them on a video. Yes, you might have read one of their books, but this is their home. This is where they live. So, just interact with them as you would any other stranger. So, be polite, don't be weird. And as long as you can hold up that end of the deal, I can show you the cooler side of the town that otherwise an outsider wouldn't get. So, yeah, shoot me an email, hit me up on Discord, etc. So, end stream mid story. No, I don't know. Kyle has become a dog noticing a squirrel. I'm gonna let you get in a little secret. That's yeah. I sometimes I'm wondering if I have ADHD or if it's just because I'm so plugged into everything, my attention span is just shot, and that's something that I can just remedy with, not staring at screens and not talking to my phone yeah. Okay, anyway. Um yeah, do not the Thursday. Um yeah. Yeah. Oh, especially just so if you see a prominent figure, some of whom might be in the stream right now, don't take pictures of them and say, I totally saw you today. That's weird. That's stalker behavior. Please don't do that. And then if you saw them, hey, maybe tell your friends later, but don't be sharing that online because that's just how would you feel if everywhere you went, people were like, I saw you at the store today. People you have no idea who they are. It's kind of that could easily turn into a very real sense of paranoia. So yeah, don't do that. But yeah, being a weirdo and acting like you know someone from a parasocial relationship you made in your head is a Redditor moment level of sin. So, which of you is a stalker? It was me. I moved here just to be closer to Thursday. No, kidding. So, how about approaching somebody and say, "You look like this guy I know named Kyle." I did not hear that last bit. Although, okay, so when Weevil did meet me, he walked up, and all I heard was, You look like someone I know." And I've had this interaction a couple of times in Steubenville, a little bit. And so at this point, I was pretty confident that I'd never seen you around town. So I just point blank asked, "Oh, okay, cool. Who are you?" So I was just like, I have we met? Do I see you at church? Are you one of the guys that I was trying to meet up with? And then it's like, oh yeah, I'm on the Pints with Aquinas Discord server, and we talked. It's like, oh, I'm this guy. It's like, oh, sweet. So yeah, but it was really cool getting to hang out with you. I know we talked for a little bit, and he got to experience my Midwest goodbye because I kept trying to walk away from the conversation, except I also kept prolonging it. And at the time, I had my 2-year-old son on my shoulders at the same time, and my shoulder hurt for 3 days after we're at because I'm old. Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, welcome to join. You probably won't make it to this far in the stream. The server is comfy. I mostly lurk though. Oh, are you in my server? Oh, well, hey, cool. And if you guys want to be in my server, I've got for a brief time, I tried to make it a locals only perk. I didn't like that. I think that there's some really cool stuff that goes on in my server. Some people get to interact. And it's kind of like a de facto content creator server. So especially if you're a content creator, hop in, let me know. I'll get you into. I've got a couple of channels dedicated to just content creators. So if you're interested in that, please hop in. So, yeah, no, I've got the I've got the PWA server, but I'll join yours if you chill with it. Of course, I've got it in the description of all my recent videos, and so happy to have you as well. Y'all get to listen to me rant about my Orthodox friends. Yeah, so yeah, Nick's Highlanders there. It's also really cool that we've got a few Easterners in there, and they're able to give some pretty good responses and insights from the Eastern things. So that's actually while I have no intention of canonically switching to the East, I am seeing that Pope St. John Paul II had such a good point whenever he said that the East and West are like the two lungs, and we need to learn to breathe with both of these lungs. So we've been checking out a local Eastern community here just so I can learn to breathe with that other lung a little bit more, because not only so in the West we have just been breathing with one lung for so long, and that lung okay, well, whatever. We're deep enough in this. I can get a little based, I guess. That one lung is so infected with the cancer of Protestantism, it affects our thought, and we might not even realize it. Meanwhile, in the East, that the Protestant spirit hasn't so much infected that so much. So it kind of balances that out a little bit. And there's certain pitfalls that you can fall into in the West, and there's pitfalls in the East too, sure, um, that aren't really a thing. And I've heard it that one of the cures for scrupulosity is a lot of Eastern wisdom, like Christian East, not Far East, like Buddhism and whatnot. So I want to try to learn more on that, learn how to breathe with that other lung. And then we'll see what goes from there. That being said, also it really helps that my kids love it. Uh, I've never seen them so excited to actually go to church, so that also makes it really easy to go there. So um, yeah, more like COVID than cancer, to be fair. Sure, whatever. You can't simply call yourself based. Oh, I swear I meant it in the most derogatory way possible. Um, let's see here. All right, cool. Well, I don't know. Are there any other topics that anybody would like to bring up before I close out? It has been over an hour, which was kind of my goal. I didn't think that I stupidly thought that my off the cuff presentation about Harrison Butker would go longer than it did, but it didn't. So the retention on this is going to be awful, but that's okay. We're not here for numbers. Um, well, friends, it was cool hanging out. Like I said, if you want to interact with me a little bit more than just here in the live chat. Oh, Trent and Jimmy's debate. Didn't watch it. Not because I was opposed to it. It's just I'm a father with 5 kids and a full-time job, and that full-time job a lot of times requires my undivided attention. So it's kind of hard to keep up on these things that last for hours. And oh yeah, Thursday is streaming. Oh, we can raid his stream. Okay, hold on. What should we show up and say? Okay, everybody, now that he's gone, I'll do it. And this is at the very end, so nobody's gonna watch this either. So everybody go to his stream and spam this into his chat. All right. And on that disappointing note, my name is Kyle Whittington. Thanks for sticking around. God bless.